Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sir, shall we start, sir? Ma'am, am I audible, ma'am? கேக்குதா மேம் பேசு
கேக்குது.
A pleasant, okay, thank you. A pleasant afternoon to one and all. With the new day comes new strength and new thoughts. With these words of Eleanor Roosevelt, I extend my warm greetings and welcome you all for the day 4 of the 5-day national level online faculty development program on Publish to Progress, organized by the PG and Research Department of Economics, Holy Cross College, Trichy. I'm delighted to once again. I shall. Okay. I'm delighted to once again welcome our resource person, Mr. Murugaraj Shanmugam, founder and director of Tolga Publishing Services, Chennai. We welcome you, sir. I'm also happily welcome all the participants who have joined today's event. It's time for the prayer. A day without prayer is a day without blessings. With these words, let's seek the God's blessing through this song.
All to Jesus I surrender, all to Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him, in His presence daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender. Humbly at His feet I bow.
Thank you, participants. So, without further delay, I hand over the session to our resource person. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So there was a recommendation that I use mic, so I'm trying to use a mic here today. So if the sound is at any point of time not of good quality, please let me know. Okay, sometimes the fan sound acts as a background noise. So if that is disturbing, please let me know so I can just either slow it down or switch it off. Either way. All right, so we are on the 4th day of the session, right, of the program. We started with finding the right journal. What are the various factors that we should think about that? So even before that, the rationale or the idea behind the sequence of topics that we chose for this program is that we as researchers have to focus as much as as much on publication as we focus on our research. Okay, so research and publication are the two sides of the same coin. I keep saying this again, so in order that we don't forget that. Okay, so we are trying to we started with identification of journals. What are the various factors that one should look for in a journal? and then we moved on to the writing process. Okay, and yesterday we talked about the writing process and other things. Okay, and today we are going to take up MS Word's features. Have you heard about something called WYSIWYG? When we talk about certain software, there is something called WYSIWYG. Have you ever heard about that? I'm just typing that WYSIWYG. Okay, what you see is what you get. That's a abbreviation that stands for. I mean, WYSIWYG is an abbreviation that stands for the phrase "what you see is what you get." All right, we can easily understand this when we take a printout on from using MS Word, right? So whatever is in the system, in the screen, when you print it out, we get exactly the same output. So what you see is what you get on the printout. So this is normally it's called a WYSIWYG system. There are also other software called for example LaTeX, which is predominantly used in mathematical intensive equation dense papers in mathematics, physics, or chemistry, predominantly there. But in general, MS Word is a medium of writing for most of us across the world. But the observation is that we are not using MS Word to its full extent. Okay, whatever we are using is only the tip of the iceberg. We are using it as if it is a sophisticated typing machine. Okay, but it can do wonders. Of course, most of you would have used this MS Word for your PhD thesis, writing, printing out, and other things. So what are the certain things? Of course, MS Word lessons are plenty. We need maybe you can have an entire 1 week devoted, not just 1 hour sessions, the full day sessions of 1 week we can spend on various features that help authors and writers. Okay, so we are going to take a couple of samples today. One is proofreading. I'm sure most of us are doing this already, but I don't want to assume anything. I don't want to leave any stones unturned. So we are going to start with that, and then we'll talk about a feature called auto formatting. So that will help us in kind of automating certain writing processes. Okay, certain common things that we can we do right often again and again, we can automate them using what is called auto format. And the third thing that we are going to look up today is how to collaborate. Okay, track changes and commenting are the two options we are going to talk about under this section. Okay, so these are not exactly related to each other, these three areas, but I wanted to show a variety of what MS Word can offer. So that's why I chose these topics for us today. All right, so let us take a, if at all, if you are on a desktop or a PC, desktop PC or a laptop, it's better you take a Word document. So as we do that, you can also practice it parallelly. As and when I explain a feature, I will give some time for you to try that out. Okay, so you can practice it parallelly. All you can do is open any document that you are using or that you have recently used, and then save it as a different document on your desktop. Okay, and then you can start working on it. All right, so yes, Gauri ma'am, any questions? I can see you have raised your hand, Gauri Palanishami ma'am. Okay, so I will assume that it is by mistake. At any point of time, please just stop me and ask me a question. So first of all, let us start with how to set our name. Okay, once again, this is basic. Most of you may know this, but let me start with the same strategy that we talked about yesterday, known to the unknown. So let us go to that topic of setting our name. Okay, I'm using the version, the latest version, Microsoft 365. Okay, Office has renamed. Office 365 has now become Microsoft 365. Earlier we said Word 2010, Word 2013, 16, 19, 21, 22, and so on. Now everything is, I think there is no 22. After 20 or 21, it is all Office 365. Now they have renamed it across the spectrum, they renamed this as Microsoft 365. Okay, so MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, all things that Microsoft has rolled out. So the bundle is called of Microsoft 365. So I'm using the Microsoft 365 version. Most of what you see here would be identical or similar to what you have in your system, unless you are using a version of either 2010 or older. Okay, if at all you are using a 2010 or a older version of MS Word, MS Office in general, my strong recommendation is that you are 13 years behind. Okay, so immediately ditch it. Not simply because you are 13 years behind, I am asking you to ditch it, but it creates serious problems. If at all any of you has come across a situation where the entire document has become one word, there are no spaces in between, everything has merged. Is there anyone who has faced this problem recently? There is no space at all. For example, I write a paragraph, unless they are pinned, messages can be seen by all the people. So this is a sentence I have written. In an older version, all the spaces between these words they vanished. Everything is one single string of characters. Have you ever come across that situation? Anyone? Okay, so I am assuming that you are all using a relatively newer version. So it could be 2013, 16 or beyond, more recent. Yes, I think one of you at least has, I think Veena ma'am has faced this problem. Okay, the reason for this problem is that Microsoft has stopped giving support for any versions older than 2007. Okay, so unless you have I think Service Pack 3, as they call it. Okay, there is a patch, the Service Pack 3 installed in your system with 2007, you will face this problem. It may not really impact immediately, but when you send a document that is created in 2007 and send it to somebody else who works on an advanced versions, and when you get it back, everything becomes a single string of characters. Okay, and all the hard work that you put in, it will become waste. Okay, so my recommendation is that you need to have at least 2013 version. Okay, 2010 is okay, but the problem is 2007 they have withdrawn all the support services a few years ago, which means in another few months or maybe later this year they will withdraw the support for 2010 also. So you will face the same kind of problem. So go for 2013, at least 2013. The best thing is 2016, 19 or the latest version. Okay, so with that note, let us go to document. I am not sharing this. I don't mean to share that on a window. Okay, now you should be looking at a Word document 2. Okay, so let us start with how to set username. How to set username. So that's a first thing that we are going to do today. Okay, go to file and then more. You will get options. Sometimes options appear here itself. If it is not available, you will go to options. Okay, under options, in the general tab itself, you will see personalize your copy of Microsoft Office. So we are going to set any name that you want. So I'm using Murugaraj. Maybe you can change it to Murugaraj Shanmugam. With my initials, I am using it AQ for a different purpose. So maybe I will use it to MS. So, okay. Why is this needed? This is needed because when we are looking at track changes in a couple of, maybe a little later in the session today, okay, so we can delete and insert something. Multiple people can do this deletion and insertion, and you can find out who did that. So just keep my cursor here. You can see that my name appears, Murugaraj Shanmugam, deleted. It also tells us at what time I deleted this phrase, and what was deleted. The words lorem ipsum was deleted. If I keep my cursor on the inserted phrase, you will see that my name appears, date stamp appears, and it says added, that string which I added. Okay, you can see that my name appears as Murugaraj Shanmugam because that's what I am using here. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm going to change it to Murugaraj, simply Murugaraj. Okay, let me delete and then say something. You will see that the deletion says Murugaraj, not Murugaraj Shanmugam, because I have changed the name now, and deleted the phrase sit, and I have inserted the string something here. Okay, so when multiple people work on the same document under track changes, you can know which ones have inserted or deleted certain words or phrases. Okay, so that is the most important thing. Now, where it is, let's say you also introduce a comment here. Okay, I'm using shortcut keys. I will explain the shortcut keys in a moment. Okay, so the comment also says Murugaraj. Okay, so my first comment, I'm using it here. Okay.
Sir, it has asked a doubt, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, he has posted where it is visible, sir.
Where is it visible? I don't get that. I mean, you're not able to see my screen.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, Felix, sir, you may unmute yourself and
Felix
ask,
sir,
sir.
yes. Can't you see my screen, sir?
Hello,
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
sir. No, sir. Actually, we could see the word MS Word, but we could
Oh,
not see where that Murugaraj has inserted that name, inserted or deleted the content, sir. We could not see it, sir.
okay. So maybe it is because the connectivity is a bit slow. It is showing up with some time lag in between what I do and what you are looking at. Felix sir says that he is able to see that right now, but can you now?
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sir, my question is, as you are making the change, just a minute,
Okay.
sir. Just a minute, sir. Yes, as you are making, when you correct the word, you said that your name as well as the time and the details are. Is there a screen or a overlay, sir?
Okay, so it will appear as a pop-up.
That popper window we are not seeing, sir.
Okay, the pop-up you are not seeing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me do one thing. So let me share the entire screen rather than just the document.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Let's see if it works. Okay. Okay, are you able to see the document now?
It is getting shared, sir.
Okay. Now, when I keep my cursor on the first letter, lorem ipsum, first,
Now, yes, sir. Now we are able to see the pop-up, sir.
Okay, okay.
You, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for
Thank you,
bringing
sir.
it to my notice. Otherwise, I would be going in a different direction at all.
Fantastic,
Thank
sir.
you.
Fantastic.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
So you are all able to see where I made the changes to my name and other things. Were you able to see that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I went to the file, and under which option, sometimes options is hidden under more. So file, more, options, and this Can you see the word options pop up now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I have changed the name here. So I changed Murugaraj to Murugaraj Shanmugam and later to Murugaraj once again. So this is the change I made. Okay. Okay. So that's the first thing. Now what we have done is we have set language. We have set the language. Sorry, we have set our username. The next thing is for you to set your language. Okay. So how are you going to do? We are going to select the entire document. What is the shortcut key to select the entire document? Anyone?
Control A.
Yes,
Control A,
very
sir.
good. Yes, absolutely
Control A.
right. Absolutely right. Control A. So we have selected everything. In your Word document, do you see something that says English India, English UK, English America, something like that? Do you see it here on the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that small ribbon, okay, this one, this small ribbon, okay, that says section 1, page 1 of 3, 1246 of 1246 words, English India, and so on. So that entire tiny ribbon like structure, it is called a toolbar. Okay, so you can enable certain things in the toolbar by just right clicking on any space, any white space on the toolbar. Okay, for example, I am just going to click after investigate, there is a white space. I am going to right click. Okay, why is it not working? Okay, do you see anything now? Do you see this now? That says customize.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, it's called status bar. No, sorry, I said toolbar. Sorry, it is status bar. So the customize status bar is available. It provides you a lot of options. Okay. So usually these are the options. Sometimes the word count, page number, and then grammar check, track changes are some of the things that are by default. Okay, they are visible. You can enable, for example, the caps lock indicator is not enabled, which means if I go for caps lock button, it will not show up here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable this by just clicking on it, enable this. Okay, now you see that if I press caps lock, it will immediately gives an indication. Can you see that here? Caps lock. Okay, if the caps lock is not enabled, it will not show up, but it will come only when we enable caps lock. Okay, so this is called a status bar. You can enable, disable anything based on the list available here. Okay, so the language selection is one of the default elements that is visible on the status bar. If it is not already visible, you can simply right click on the status bar anywhere on the white space. Okay, and this pop-up showing the list of all items that can be enabled will be shown. You can just click on spelling and grammar check, language. Okay, so these two things you can just check. Okay, now that my language is here, you simply click on that. Okay, I just clicked on English India. So this list of all English variations are available here, and also other languages. Okay, French, German, Hebrew, Hindi, Hungarian. Okay, so all the languages that you have that MS can support will be listed here. So let's say I wanted to change English India to English United Kingdom or United States. So let's say I'm just choosing United Kingdom. Okay, so ensure that these two boxes do not check spelling or grammar, detect language automatically. These two are not checked. These boxes should be empty. So just say okay. All right. Now what happens is I selected all the text, clicked on this English variation and changed the variation to United Kingdom, and I said okay. Now you can see that the variation changed to English United Kingdom, the language changed to English United Kingdom. Okay, I'm for demonstration purposes, I'm using dummy text. This is called dummy text. Okay, so the dummy text is showing up as a lot of errors, right? You can see there are a lot of underlines, red underlines here. So for all our practical purposes, this is disturbing. We can disable that. How? Once again, select all the text, go to this language module, just click do not check spelling or grammar, do not detect language automatically. The first one is sufficient. Okay, so you simply check the box, do not check spelling and grammar, and then say okay. You will see that it is clean. It is not showing up any errors. Okay, even if there are any errors, it will simply be masked. It will not be underlined that it is an error. Okay, sometimes you want to read the document for clarity and other things. These languages, they are disturbing, distracting. You can disable that. Okay, so first thing, setting the username. Second thing, setting the proofing language. Okay, so in the proofing language there are certain advanced options also. I'm not going to explain everything, but I'm going to tell you where you can find them. So go to file, more, options, the same box, the same pop-up menu. Okay, in which we are going to look at proofing. Okay, so under proofing we are looking at various options here. Writing style is also provided. It says grammar refinements. If you just click on the settings, you will see there are nearly 100 entries are there. Okay, it is very difficult unless, to be frank, if you are not an editor or a person who is well versed with the editing processes, you may not understand most of these processes. So just don't worry about that, and just, but if you are interested, you can just take a look at each of these things. So that's why I point you to this place. So setting your name, setting the proofing language. So the next thing is, sometimes you want to simplify certain repetitive typing processes. Okay, for example, I worked on a project called Money, right? It is a book on macroeconomics. Okay, it's basically a book on money, right? And it has certain numbers. All right, for illustration purposes, the author uses 1 lakh crore as a transaction value. So whenever the author wants to talk about transaction between one bank to another bank, or one bank entity to non-bank entity, or bank between a bank at a central bank RBI, so the standard transaction value is 1 lakh crore. So every time you need to, okay, so I'll use a keyboard for convenience. So here I'm going to type rupee, and then a thin space, 1 thin space, lakh crore. Okay, so I kept saying thin space 2 times, right? So you might be wondering what a thin space is. Okay, if I press, or okay, let me not press, on the home button, there is a small inverted P like symbol. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
So this is the paragraph symbol. Okay, end of the paragraph, and you just click on that. It will enable a lot of non-printing characters. For example, every space is now indicated by a kind of center dot. Okay, they are not actual periods. For example, you can see that the period is at the bottom of the line. This is in the center of the line, the middle of the line. So these are all non-print characters. The end of this paragraph is indicated by this symbol called pilcrow. Okay, now I am showing something called a circle. Okay, it's not a dot like this one, but this is a circle. This is a space called non-breaking space. So what is a non-breaking space? So let us take this example. I am writing something and it ends with Dr. Krishnamurthy Vaidya Nathan. Okay, now sometimes what happens is the name breaks between two lines. Especially the salutation goes in the previous line and the name goes to the other line, which doesn't look good, right? Okay, if not the entire first name and the surname are kept together, at least that salutation should be kept together, otherwise it is hanging, like an orphan in a different line. So in order to keep them together, we use what we call non-breaking spaces or thin spaces. So I am inserting a non-breaking space. How do I insert a non-breaking space? We can do that by simply pressing Control Shift and the space bar. Okay, so I am writing it here. Control Shift and then space bar. Okay, so if you press these three things together, what you get is a non-breaking space. So let me show you. So instead of the space, I am pressing Control Shift space bar. You see that the small circle like entity comes now instead of the regular dot like space. A circle like space is here. But you also notice that the word DR goes to the next line because it cannot accommodate the name Krishnamurthy to the previous line. It takes doctor to the next line. Sometimes if it is accommodatable, if it is accommodatable, you wouldn't need the situation at all. So this non-breaking space keeps things together. Okay, so coming back, I wanted to have 1 lakh crore with a thin space in between. And the CRR, right, and the cash reserve requirement, which we considered to be 4% for the exposition purposes. So every time there is a 1 lakh crore transaction, there is a 4% CRR requirement to be fulfilled by the banks and to be kept as reserves with the central bank. So it will be rupees how much? Rupees 0.04 lakh crore. Is that correct? And also there is another requirement which is SLR requirement, SLR. Okay, so SLR requirement is 8%. So it would be 0.08. And after deducting the CRR and SLR from the transaction value, what is remaining is how much? 0.88, right? 0.88 lakh crore. So these are all the various phrases that we come across in that manuscript. It's a 500-page book. So these four strings come quite frequently. So every time you would have noticed when I was trying to insert the rupee symbol, the symbol is not available on my laptop. So I went to my keyboard, extended keyboard. So this extended keyboard has something called an Alt GR key. This is available in most of the recent keyboards. Okay, after the space bar, there is something called Alt GR. Okay, so if that Alt GR key is available, you can simply press on Alt GR and the dollar symbol. So it will produce a money rupee symbol. Okay, if it is not available, you can do that by pressing 0877. Okay, alt 0877. Okay, it has to be numerical pad again. Otherwise, what you have to do, you have to go to the internet, copy a symbol, come back here, paste it. It's a difficult process. So can we do it simply? Okay, so I'm going to show you one way. So what if this entire symbol, so how many keystrokes are involved in it? Okay, think about it. So at least 15 keystrokes are involved in typing that symbol, that string rupee 1 LC. That's only the visible thing, but there are 15 keystrokes. Multiply that by hundreds of instances in any document. Can we simplify it? Yes, we can. That's the answer. That's a trick we are going to see now. So 1 lakh crore. Okay, I'm going to go to the file menu, more, options, and proofing. Here we have something called autocorrect options. Okay, so the moment I clicked on that autocorrect options, this pop-up window appears. There are 5 tabs in it. By default, it is on the autocorrect tab, which is what we need also. So we have, you can see that this 1 lakh crore string is also available. It says plain text and formatted text. I'm going to go ahead with plain text for now. So what to be replaced? Let me say one, okay, one LC as my keyword. Okay, one LC as my key input, I mean as my input, my output would be 1 lakh crore rupees. Okay, so okay. So what is the magic that we are going to do? We are going to do type 1 LC and then space. It will automatically change it to 1 lakh crore. Okay, the same way, let us say we want to insert something. What do? We go to file, more, okay, options, and then proofing, autocorrect options. This is already chosen here. I'm going to say 0.4 LC. Okay, I'm going to add it. Okay, so the moment I write 0.4 LC, okay, I have typed only 0.4 LC and then I'm giving a space, it will automatically change it to rupee symbol followed by a thin space followed by 0.04 point, I mean thin space, capital L, capital C, all of the things together. Okay, you can use this for some standard phrases. For example, you are coordinating with someone else. Okay, maybe you would use okay, this phrase, the theory of financial intermediation. Okay, let's say this string appears 50-60 times or even 100 times in your article. Okay, so instead of typing this phrase every time, what you can do is you can convert this into an auto format text. How do you do that? We go to file menu, more menu, options, proofing, autocorrect. In the autocorrect option, we see that because we already selected it, it is showing up here, the theory of financial intermediation. I'm going to simply say TFIT. Okay, the theory of financial intermediation, I'm going to say TFIT. I'm going to add it. Okay, come out. Now I'm writing TFIT. Okay, and then giving a space, you'll see that immediately the theory of financial intermediation appears. Please ensure that the input structure, the input string that you are using is unique. Okay, it is not a regular English word or any word that any combination that would be easily substitutable for something else. It has to be unique. Otherwise, it will wrongly replace the characters in places you don't expect it to be. Most important. Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes. Okay, you can go ahead and try that. Try this autocorrect. Okay, building autocorrect in your systems. Okay, let's take a few minutes to do that. And let me know which string that you want to, what is the longest string that you have, are probably the most, okay, most difficult ones. Especially I have tried this with among chemistry research scholars, because they are known for writing a very long chemical compound names with a lot of superscripts, subscripts and other things. This was a super hit among them, but I'm sure it is also useful for economists and social scientists. If you wanted to, you can even convert this into in sections. Okay, I'll show you next, but I'll give you a couple of minutes for you to try this now. Once you completed that, once you tried that, just add a message that you are able to do that, done, something like that, so we will know what is happening. The most important part of learning these life hacks or tricks, as we call it, is to actually try that out. Unless you try that out, you will forget and you may not use it again. Okay, so let us try that. You can use simple strings also. Once you know how to do that, when there is a need at later point of time when you are writing, okay, you can employ this technique. You can even just try this with your names. For example, I'm just looking at the name that in front of me I can see is Felix Raj A.P. Okay, so why don't you just try FARAP? I convert that into your name, or
Yes.
maybe Mustafa Modern Economist. So you can say mu mo dot or something mu dot mo dot, which would convert this into the name Mustafa Modern Economist.
Sir, when I try the previous one of alt grade 4 or alt grade 1, you showed no, sir, 1 lakh crore. When I try for any other number like 0.4 LC or any other number, I'm not getting it, sir. But for one LC, I'm able to get, sir.
Okay, so when you say you are not getting, what do you mean actually? You are not able to define that, or you define it but it is not appearing?
I defined only one LC as rupee 1 space capital L capital C and added it in my autocorrect list. And then I tried for another number 2 LC. It is not appearing, sir. It
No,
is not.
you have to build it. You have to add.
Oh,
Every entry is one thing, no? So that
okay.
1 LC is for 1 lakh crore. If you want to add, for example, 0.88 lakh crore, then you have to insert another entry. Okay, you can directly do that. For example, okay, for example, I'm here on the document, right? So I can directly go to File, More, Options, Proofing, Autocorrect. Okay, so these two are blank. Replace with or both blank. Okay, so let me try this. Okay, so what is the name? Okay, okay, FARP. I'm going to use this as Felix Arokya Raj
Yes, sir.
P, right? The period after it. So you will immediately see that the add button appears, comes to life. Okay, I'm adding it and then give OK and then give OK. Now, when I type FARP dot, okay, it will not appear because I'm using capitals there. Okay, FARP dot. So the immediately you see that the name appears. So you have to define it.
Right, sir.
This is only available in your system, in your document. Okay, once you define it, nobody else can use it on the other system.
Right.
It is built into your normal template, so it is available only in your system. Even if you are using multiple systems, one desktop and another laptop, you have to define differently for different systems.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, has anyone else tried that? Did it work? Anyone? How many of you are trying? How many of you are working on it? I'm assuming that you are all trying. Yes, okay. You can just show a thumb so I would know. Okay. Okay. I'll give just one more minute to try that. Okay. Another neat feature that you have in auto format or autocorrect is that, okay, so some mathematical symbols also you can directly easily do that. Okay, for example, you wanted to insert a delta symbol. Okay, so all you have to do is give a backslash and then press delta. I think lowercase ELTA. So it will automatically change it to a delta symbol. Or you can say capital D ELTA, it will change it to capital delta. Okay, so /new which is n /phi /chi square you would be using a lot, right? So chi. So this is possible through, you have to enable something called options, proofing, autocorrect. There is a math autocorrect and auto format as you type. Okay, so math autocorrect, you see that there is a big list of variations. I mean, symbols available here. So you can for example, let's say equivalent symbol. Okay, there are 3 lines instead of equal to symbol, there is an equivalent symbol, right? So how do we do that? /UQV. We have 3 lines. So you don't have to really worry about going to insert and then go to symbol and then more symbols and then look for the symbol where it is. Sometimes you will never be able to find the symbol available for you. So you can quickly insert all of these mathematical symbols by using a backslash and the character combination for that. Okay. Can you move on to another feature?
I see.
Okay. Now we are going to talk about collaboration. Especially my recommendation is that, okay, if you are 100% sure about the writing, hire a copy editor. Okay, I basically am a copy editor. I started my career as a copy editor. So with a bit of a bias, I would say hire a copy editor. Why? Because copy editors have gone through proper training to understand what to edit, what not to. It is not simply the grammar aspects, but it goes beyond also. That's a different story for another day. Now let's focus on what happens when I copy edit. Okay, there are mistakes are there, so I make some changes. Okay, for example, the theory of intermediation, financial intermediation, or or an age-old concept. Okay, are there any mistakes? Yes, grammatically there is a mistake because we need to have a singular subject because we are talking about the theory of financial intermediation, a singular subject. Therefore, it should be singular here. So I can make a change. I send it to you. So you are writing a research article. You send it to me for copy editing. So I have made changes everywhere and I send it to you back. But what happens? You would not know what changes I made, right? Because what you are looking at is a final copy. You are not sure whether any changes were made. Even if changes were made, what are all the changes? You would not know. So how do copy editors ensure that you know what they are? We enable something called track changes. Once again, from the status bar, you see that there is something called a track changes, which is currently off. I'm just clicking on it. It's a toggle button. So the moment I click on it, okay, so the moment I click on it, it automatically changes to on. It's a toggle button. It will switch between on and off every time you click it. Or you can directly go to this part, something called review. Okay, this review menu. Under this review menu, you have something called tracking. Okay, the tracking is enabled now. So you can see that this box is gray out. Okay, which means it is enabled. Okay, when I simply disable it, you will see that this tracking button is not highlighted. So you can directly click here also, track changes. You can also use a shortcut key. MS Word will have at least 3 ways to accomplish most of its standard or most common features. For example, save, you can press Ctrl S, or you can just click on this button, Control the save button, or you can go to the file and then click on save. Okay, so there are at least 3 different ways you can achieve the same thing, most of the common features in MS Word. Similarly, for track changes also, you can use a shortcut key, Control Shift E. Okay, or you can simply enable these track changes in the status bar and then click on that in order to enable track changes. Or you can go to the menu, review menu, under tracking, you can just click on track changes. Okay, now let's say I'm looking at this. So I want to change it. So this is originally R. I want to change it to ease. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm changing it to ease. You can see that I have deleted R and inserted ease. So how will you know who changed it? You want to know who changed this, who made this change. How will you know?
Just mouse over.
Fantastic. Yes, you simply keep your mouse there. Okay, you will see that Murugaraj deleted the word R. When was it done? It was done on 1st February 2024 at 3:53 p.m. Okay, so similarly, Murugaraj also inserted something. Okay, so this is called insertions, deletions. Okay, insertions, deletions. Okay, now if you have not used insertion deletions or the track changes already, it will not look like red and blue here. The red and blue is an international standard. Across the world, this is how copy editors use. Any deletions, it's a common sense logic, right? When you delete, you will use a red pen. When you insert, you will use a blue pen. The same logic it is applied here. So red is for deletion. You also see that it is strike through is applied here, the formatting. And any new insertion, it is not underlined basically. Okay, it is to indicate that. So where all of these controls are available, how do can I change the color of this? You can. How to do that? Once again, go to the review menu, go to tracking, and track changes. There is a small arrow at the bottom. You click on that, or better. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so it's here on this top bottom and bottom right. There is a pop-up menu button. You just click on that. You will get that. Go to advanced options. So this is where you can see that insertions, underline, blue color, deletions, strike through, red color. If you are using it for the first time, it will show like this. Okay. So this is how it will show. You will not be able to differentiate between an insertion and a deletion. So a good idea is to differentiate by some color, which is a standard color across the world. Is for insertions we will use blue, for deletions we will use red. You can also track moves, which means sometimes I want to change or take this sentence to the end of this paragraph. Okay, so what I do, I'll use Control X to cut this. and go to the end of the paragraph and paste it. Okay, now it is not a deletion and insertion. A deletion and insertion means two different phrases, but when the same phrase is taken and placed somewhere else, it is simply moving from one place to another place. It is shown by green color text with a double strike through. The same green color with an double underline, meaning that this is a new place where it is inserted, that is old place where it is deleted from. Okay, you can also see sometimes the changes are very minor. For example, I have changed, I have inserted a period here. Okay, unless you are very keen, if you have very good observation eye, you may miss it. Okay, so how do I know that there is some change in the sentence? I can know that by looking at the vertical lines and the bottom margin, left margin. So you can see that there are lines. You can see there is a gap here, which means the third line there are no changes. Okay, so there's a gap. So let me delete it. You will see that on the left hand side, the pipe, the vertical line will automatically appear. Okay, so I'm going to delete it. You can see that this gap. So which means every line that has a change will be indicated by the vertical line on the left. That is also set up here. Okay, changed lines. Whenever there is a change in a line, there is an outside border. Okay, so track changes, track moves, moved from double strike through green color, moved to double underline green color, inserted cells. It is for tables. Okay, so I can show you. I can immediately quickly insert a table here. Track changes, column 1, column 2, row, row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2. So that's a 2-column table I am building. It's a 3-column table. I have already introduced another one, it seems. Okay, so now I have introduced a column wrongly. I just only need 2 by 2 table, but I introduced another column wrongly. I want to change it. So it is under track changes. So what happens when I delete this? Okay, track changes on. Okay, let's say I'm deleting this one. Okay, it should show up in a different color. I'm not sure it is working that way. So let me add another row. Okay, I'm deleting this. Okay, I'm not really sure why it is not showing up that way. So it should actually be highlighted with some background color, like this, that light orange, light blue and a light pink for deleted cells. I'm not sure why it is coming up that way. So when I insert, you can see that the blue color appears. Or is it my eyes? No. Okay, so when I insert, you can see that it appears as blue in color. Insert rows, not columns. Okay, but the deletion is not showing up the way expected. I'm not really sure why. Okay, I need to do some troubleshooting, but it might take time. Okay, so one thing, deletion, insertion, moving phrases from one place to another place, and dealing with tables. Okay, so all of this can be tracked. Sometimes you want to say something about a sentence. Okay, I'm going to take 5 more minutes maximum. Okay, So it's 4 o'clock. So just give me a few minutes. The last item of the day. Okay, I want to add some comment here. I want to tell the author that hey, something is wrong here. I'm not able to make out the meaning that you are trying to say here. Okay, so I cannot. Okay, normally people write it like this. Okay, please check this sentence. Okay, but if you're not careful and delete it later, it will go for submission. Okay, so any comment should not be placed inside the manuscript. So what we are going to do is I'm going to select the sentence which is not meaningful and introduce or insert a comment, okay, by just clicking on new comment. Okay, the shortcut key is Control Shift M, sorry, Control Alt M. Okay, so please check this sentence. Okay, so you will see that there is a different color highlighted here. Okay, this sentence looks gray, and when I keep my mouse over it, it automatically changes color. You can also see Murugaraj commented, please check this sentence on 1st February at 4 o'clock to 4:02 p.m. Okay, now let's say you are the author. You believe that the sentence is correct. Probably Murugaraj read it differently, or you can say change this to something. Okay, so it will like a conversation. Murugaraj said that, and you said change this to, okay, and it come back to me for checking all the revisions. I can say okay, so this is resolved. I don't need this comment anymore. I can go to this, either delete this thread, or I can simply resolve this thread, which means it will say okay, this is taken care of. You can see that there is a tick mark. Okay, you can see all the comments by clicking on the comments button in the top right. So you click on that. Okay, it will list all the comments in a single place. So you can quickly go through the comments. So that's like a PDF, right? You have seen all the comments. You click on the comments one by one, it will take you to the places of commenting. So the same logic can be applied here. If you don't want a comment, you can just delete it directly. So all of these are possible using commenting. Okay, so if you want to see all of the comments and changes, that is also possible by looking at the reviewing pan. Just click on that reviewing pan. Everything will come here. You can have the reviewing pan on the left also. How is that done? That is done by clicking on reviewing pan vertical. So all of this will go to the left hand side. So this way, not necessarily editor author, sometimes multiple authors work on a document, right? So multiple authors working on a document. So you can do all the changes and send it maybe to your supervisor. You can send it to him, or the first author, corresponding author, you send it to him, the senior author. Okay, they may make all the changes using track changes and send it to you back. You can check all the insertions, deletions, everything, and then validate finally. And if there are any comments, you can address those comments and clean up the document. So that way collaboration becomes much easier between multiple people. One great advantage is that the names of all the people appear. So I think many times we do not set our names. That's why I started with the setting of name as the first thing for the day. Okay, so right away, don't just use names like author, admin, HCL, something like that. Okay, always use your name or initials properly. So that way, when you make these track changes or when you collaborate with others, it is easy for others to understand who made the changes or who inserted a comment. Okay, so with that, I would even if you want to learn more about it, you can just go through these different options available, especially the comments and track changes. These two menus, I strongly recommend that you go through these, so you will know more idea about that. So I'm going to stop share here. So 3 points. One is setting your username. setting your proofing language. That's number one. Number two is autocorrect, auto format, auto math in order to simplify your repetitive typing of tasks. And the third one is collaborating with others, how to show what changes you have made, what comments you have made. Yes, Mustafa sir, please go ahead. MS Word has a lot of features. Okay, for example, I'm sure you would have seen that, the entire tab we may not have used, we may not even have thought about why there are so many things there. Okay, but if you start understanding more and more of the features available, your writing process can be enormously simplified and become much more efficient. Okay, so my strong recommendation is that you spend some time in learning MS Word, or at least some of the most common features that will help you as an author to simplify your work. That's it from me for today. Any questions?
Participants, if you have any questions, you may unmute yourself.
Okay, I think people will have to try this. Please go ahead and after the session. Please try these things. Okay, at least change your name. Try to insert some auto corrections, autocorrect phrases, auto format. Try that auto formatting and track changes options. And if you have any questions, please do. Either you can send it to our group. I think group you cannot send a message. You can send us a message to me, so I'll address them tomorrow, or you can just bring them for tomorrow's session. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll share my email ID and my contact details in tomorrow's session, so you can keep in touch with me and we can take this learning to the next levels. Sure. All right. Thank you, Veena ma'am.
Yes,
Over to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for today's hands-on session on MS Word. We learned many new tricks and tips in the Word document, sir. It would definitely help us to use the Word in a more effective way. Thank you so much, sir. And I thank all the participants for their active participation. Participants, the feedback link has been shared, and we may meet tomorrow at the same time. Thank you so much. Thank you.